Good morning, class, or good afternoon, depending on when you're doing this. Um, Pretty excited about today's lesson. Today we are dividing whole numbers and understanding remainders. We're going to get into division, and ultimately we're going to get into estimating, and dividing decimals. But before we do that, I think it's important that we look at whole numbers just so I can get an idea of where you're at with that. I know this is probably stuff that you've done before, but refreshers are good. And I get it in life, when you get out of school and you come across a division problem, chances are you're going to have a calculator close by, or iPhone or Apple Watch or something. But I think it's important to have a concept of how to do it on pen and paper, and understand why it works, and understand if your answer is close or not, which is why we're spending all this time with estimating, because the calculators are only as accurate as what you enter in them. So if you don't understand it, it might not work out. So we're going to do some practicing. So let's look at this problem. So we've got 128 divided by 8. Okay. So 128 divided by 8. We can write that a number of ways. We know that we can write it as a fraction, and 128 divided by 8 is like this, because what this line really means is divide by. So when we see 128 over 8 like this, or 128 divided by 8 like this, we can also go 128 divided by 8. And what we are doing is we're seeing how many times 8 goes into 128. So we're seeing how many times 8, which is our divisor, goes into 128, which is our dividend. You should remember those terms. We've used those before. So here's what we're looking at. 8 divided by 128. So there's a couple different ways you could do this. I am going to do it the way that I learned, which is long division. Right? So if I do this, I go 128 divided by 8. And then, does 8 go into 1? No. So I just put a little x there. Does 8 go into 12? Yes. 8 times 1 is 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. I drop the 8 down. 48. How many times does 8 go into 48? 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Nothing left. So my answer is 16. Now, we'll go through this doing partial quotients or estimation division, however you name it. So if we do that, we could go same way, right? 128, divided by 8. And so let's chunk it out. So how many times does 8 go into 128? Well, let's just say 10, right? That takes a pretty good chunk. So 8 times 10 is 80. And then we've got 8, 48, and 8 goes into 48 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48, 0, so 16. So we came up with the same thing. Here, I'm going to show you, so we know our answer is 16. Just to help support and remember how we did the long division, I'm going to show you this video. Check it out. So hopefully that helps you remember. I know it gets catchy and you start to think about it and help you with long division. But you can always use estimation or partial quotients as well. So um, let's look at this. What happens when it doesn't work out exactly and there's a remainder? So we'll write it like this. So 81 divided by 15, right? So we have to look at how many times does 15 go into 81, because it doesn't go into 8, so does it go into 81? So let's look on the side here and we go 15, I know 15 times 4, 60, right? Add another 15, 75. So I can go 15 times 5 equals 75. So it goes in 5 times. And I get 15 times 75. And then 11 by 5 is 6. So I have a remainder. So we can write it like this. 5 remainder 6. But how can we write that as a decimal? Well, before we do that, let's do partial quotients. So 15, 81. So let's say 15 goes 81 2 times. We got 30, 51, 2 more times, 30, 21, 1 more time, 15, 6. So we've got 5, but we've got that remainder of 6. So what we can turn this into a decimal, and this is how. That remainder, well, I think many times kids want to go, oh, it's just 5.6. It is not 5.6 or 5 and 6/10. What it is you need to go, that 6 really is 6 left out of 15, right? So it becomes the numerator over the denominator of 15. So then you bring that back over to here and you have 5 and 6/15. But then what you can do is you can reduce that, and you go 6 divided by 3, 15 divided by 3, and you get 2/5. And so you now have 5 and 2/5. Well, you might recognize that as 4/10, and we know how to write 4/10. So our answer becomes 5 and 4/10, and that's how you convert it to a decimal. All right, let's look at one more. So we've got 38 divided by 4. So 38 divided by 4. Well, I know that 9 times 4 is 36. 38 minus 36 is 2. So I've got a remainder of 2. So remember, it is not 9.2 or 9 2/10. That is not correct. What you need to do is take this remainder and put it up there and go 2/4. So now we have 9 and 2/4, or 9 and 1/2. And we know that 1/2 written as a decimal, 1/2 written as a decimal is 5/10. Because really 1/2 equals 5/10, right? Because 2 times 5 equals 10, 1 times 5 equals 10. So our answer becomes 9.5, but using our math language, 9 and 5/10. So these obviously were problems that they either ended out with no remainders, or the remainders that you had convert into decimals easily. That's not always going to happen. Sometimes you're going to get fractions that you're going to have to divide out to figure out what the decimal is, but ultimately I want you to be able to understand how to convert those remainders into decimals, and this is going to be a way that these problems are going to help you do that. So on the next slides, there's going to be some homework for you to do. I want you to show your work. Do not use your calculator, or you can use your calculator to check, but definitely want you to show your work and show me what your thought process is, so I can help you and provide good feedback. So when you're done, take a picture and upload it. Good luck.